how's it going? CJ here, and Apple's WWDC 2017 has just ended. Overall, I think it was a good conference, and there are a lot of good updates, and I think Apple is moving in the right direction. So I just wanted to make a quick little video to recap the most important things that you need to know about the world of Apple. I'm going to try and keep this video as short as possible, but there were a lot of updates and a lot of things to cover, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways, let's get right into it. So Apple broke down their conference into 6 main points, and I think that will be the easiest for me to do as well. So the first thing was tvOS and the Apple TV, and the only thing that was really announced here was that Amazon Prime Video is coming to the Apple TV later in the year. But that was about it for the Apple TV. Now the second thing Apple talked about was the Apple Watch, specifically watchOS 4, which will be releasing later in the fall. The main thing they talked about were the new watch faces. They have a new Siri face, which will display relevant information to you based on your location and the time of day. And they also released a kaleidoscope watch face and Toy Story watch faces. Apple also focused a lot on the activity side of the Apple Watch. There are now notifications that will alert you with your own personal goals and achievements. There's the ability to add a workout into the same session, so you can do multiple types of workouts in the same activity session. And there are also music controls in the workout app now as well. But the coolest feature is the ability for the watch to exchange information with workout equipment at the gym using NFC, and I think that will be really cool and useful. Additionally, they changed the music app so that it's more simple and more proactive to what you want to listen to. And also the dock is now vertical, so you can slide through your apps vertically. And there are many just general UI changes and improvements to speed and background app usage. Now the third thing Apple talked about was macOS, and their new operating system for the Mac is called macOS High Sierra. Yeah, that's a little interesting, but there are a bunch of new updates and welcome improvements to the Mac operating system as well. Changes to Safari include autoplay video blocking so that videos don't play when you don't want them to, and also there's intelligent tracking prevention so that suggestions for products you've been looking at will not appear as ads on other websites, and it'll keep your information more private. Mail now has a full-screen composing view for writing emails, and Photos now has face recognition so that it can group photos by person. It also has more powerful editing tools and filtering options for finding the photos that you want. And all of this information is synchronized from iCloud across all devices. macOS is also now using the APFS file system, which is the Apple file system, and this allows for faster file transfer. And it also supports H.265 video now, and it also uses Metal 2, which will allow for better gaming and graphics performance across the board, and it also supports virtual reality. macOS High Sierra will be a free upgrade for everyone in the fall, and Apple also released a bunch of new Mac hardware today. Apple updated their iMacs with new 7th gen Intel Kaby Lake processors, faster SSDs, higher RAM memory capacity, better displays, and Thunderbolt 3 USB-C ports. And they improved the graphics across the board. Apple also updated their MacBooks with the new 7th gen Kaby Lake Intel processors and faster SSDs, and the 15-inch MacBook Pro also has a better base graphics card. And all of these new Macs are shipping today. Now Apple also surprisingly gave us a sneak peek of the new product that they are releasing in December, and it's called the iMac Pro. And it's made for the professionals who need more of a workstation than the original iMac can provide. And let me tell you, this thing is a beast. The beautiful 5K display is powered by AMD's Radeon Vega graphics. There is an 8-core, 10-core, or 18-core CPU option, and they are all Xeon Intel processors. It supports up to 128 gigabytes of RAM, up to a 4 terabyte SSD. There are 4 USB-C Thunderbolt ports and an Ethernet port added to the original I/O of the iMac, and it starts at $4,999, and like I said, it's available in December in matte black in all its glory. And the fourth thing that Apple talked about was iOS 11, and honestly it doesn't look like that big of an update, but there are a bunch of welcome changes and features that will be very useful. In Messages, there is a redesigned app drawer for your Messages apps, and also it's now iCloud synchronized across all your devices, and this also includes the deletion of messages, which will be very helpful. The changes to Apple Pay include person-to-person payment, finally, and this is also integrated into iMessage so that you can just send people money over iMessage, which is really cool. And when you receive money, it will go onto your Apple Pay cash card, which then can be transferred to your bank account, or you can just use your Apple Pay cash card to pay for purchases in store or online. Siri also received voice updates and contextual awareness updates to make her seem more like an actual person. And now she also offers the feature for translating languages, which will be really cool and helpful. And also, she provides on-device learning to learn how you interact with your device or your iPhone or iPad. And this will synchronize across all your devices so that Siri is just as smart on your iPhone as she is on your iPad. The camera also supports new file formats for photos and videos so that they are more compressed and that leaves more free space on your device. There is also better performance for video and picture taking. And Apple also added the ability to edit live photos, and you can change the key photo, which means you can change which photo of the live photo you would like to display as the main photo, if that made any sense. And they also added looping and bouncing, which is basically boomerang on Instagram. Apple also updated the control center to be more condensed and to fit on one page. And they're doing this by emphasizing the use of 3D touch to access more toggles and settings that you wouldn't have been able to access before. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about this because it kind of looks weird, but hopefully I'll get used to it. Another change is that your notification center is now technically the same thing as your lock screen. So you can have your phone unlocked and you can just swipe down and access your lock screen, which is kind of weird. I'm pretty interested to see how Apple implemented this. Apple also updated Apple Maps with a bunch of new features that will be super useful. They added floor plans for malls and airports across the United States so that you can know where you're going within those specific buildings, and that'll be super useful. They also added lane guidance and speed limits to navigation so that you know which lane to be in, which will be super useful, especially for big cities. And they also added a new feature which is called Do Not Disturb While Driving, and it'll use Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to sense when you're in your car, and it'll automatically turn on Do Not Disturb so that you're not distracted with your phone while you're driving. And these features will all be super useful. I'm super excited for the updates to Maps. With HomeKit, Apple also added speaker support for multi-room audio with AirPlay 2, and they also added a cool new feature called Shared Up Next so that people over at your house can access your Up Next playlists and add songs and delete songs and make changes to the music that you're going to be listening to, all from their own iPhone, which is really cool. The Apple Music app has also been updated to be more friends-based so that you can see what your friends are listening to and to help you find new music. And the App Store is also getting an update for the first time in a while, and it includes a new Today tab, a Games tab, and an Apps tab. And the overall goal of the new App Store is just to recommend apps to you that it thinks you would like to see. iOS 11 will be available to everyone later in the fall, and to go along with that, the fifth thing that Apple talked about was the iPad, and they specifically spent a good amount of time on the iPad. There were some major hardware announcements for the iPads today. The main one is that the 9.7-inch iPad Pro is getting replaced by a 10.5-inch iPad Pro with smaller bezels. Both iPads are getting a new display with an improved refresh rate of 120 Hz for smoother graphics performance. They're both receiving an A10X Fusion chips with 6 cores, and they are also getting camera upgrades to the iPhone 7 camera system. They now start at 64 gigabytes, and there are also 256 gigabyte and 512 gigabyte options. At the time of this video, they are shipping next week. iOS 11 also puts a huge focus on iPad. The dock is expanded to fit way more apps, and you can summon it anywhere just from swiping up on the screen. You also have the ability to drag and drop, and there's a new Files app that lets you view and organize your files on your iPad. Also, the app switcher was redone so that it's more screen efficient, and it's also the control center. And there's a new Flick keyboard, which allows you to swipe down on certain keys on the keyboard to access numbers and punctuation more quickly. The Notes app specifically got a huge overhaul. There's now a document scanner, which allows you to scan documents into the Notes app. There's a bunch of new markup features and abilities for use with the Apple Pencil. And there's indexed learning for your handwriting so that the iPad can know what you wrote and allow you to search for handwritten notes. And finally, the sixth and one more thing that Apple had to reveal today is called the HomePod speaker. Yes, that's what they're calling it, the HomePod. It's a pretty compact little speaker with a bunch of drivers and 6 microphones, and it also is powered by an A8 chip, just like your iPhone, and it was made to be a competitor to the Google Home and the Amazon Echo, but Apple specifically emphasized how they focused on making the Apple HomePod a really good speaker and a really good intelligent assistant all in one. It's spatially aware so that it can provide the best sound quality for the room that it's in, and Apple really emphasized the fact that it has enough power to really pack a punch when it comes to music. And it's all powered by Siri, so that you can ask Siri to do anything that you would ask her to do on your iPhone. It costs $349, which is honestly a little steep compared to the competitors. And it's available in white and black, and it'll be available for purchase in December. But yeah, I think that's about it for the updates from WWDC 2017. Hopefully it was useful to you as a quick little recap, and hopefully this video wasn't actually too long. We'll see how it turns out. But yeah, I thank you for watching as always, and if it helped you, be sure to leave a like, as it really does help me out. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.